My soul is shining from the light in my heart as I praise my Lord right from the start. Tears of joy overflowing from my eyes. All the pain in the past was a blessing in disguise. In the middle of the night, I will supplicate to you. As darkness fills the room, the prayers make me feel brand new. Tranquility, the break of dawn comes too soon. Belief in your mercy makes me feel I'll never lose. أشرقت نفسي بنور من فؤادي حينما رددت يا رب العباد.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Ramadan Mubarak to everyone out there. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept everyone's fast.
Ameen.
Ameen. Yo, these days are flying, brother.
It's one of the signs of the times. Muhammad said that one of the signs of the hour is the speed of time.
Yeah, certainly.
It literally still feels like the first day of Ramadan.
For real. And it's like you turn around.
And this is literally what? This is like the 10th night.
SubhanAllah. That's ridiculous, man. You know, it's I don't know. Like you said, it is the sign of the times. Certainly. And it's like, for me, the only reason why I recognize it, because I never go by the juice.
Yeah.
You know, people always want to read it. I just read.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And wherever I end up, I usually like finishing the surah or whatever it is. Whatever I end up at is what I end up at. But, you know, people have this regimen that they do. And I looked back, I was like, Jews 8. You know what I mean? Like Jews 9, like already? SubhanAllah.
Oh no! Matter of fact, no. This is the 11th night. As a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is the 11th night. Yeah. Wow, man.
SubhanAllah. It's moving fast. Let's get into it, man. So this one should be a little bit different than what we used to. We might get into a little bit of trouble tonight, huh? What do you say?
It's just us. That's why.
No handcuffs.
Right. Word.
No handcuffs.
100% AWOL.
Oh yeah, it's definitely AWOL. You know, this might get a few of us canceled. Like, no, mashallah.
When have I not been canceled?
That's true. I'm not trying to get on that list, but get on that list all at the same time. You know, I felt kind of. You remember the meeting that we had, but I kind of felt offended. The brother was like, yeah, we went through your thing. We didn't see no problems. I'm like, no problems? You didn't have no problems with nothing I said? Wow. Either I'm toting the line or something's going on. Like, you didn't disagree with nothing? And I know me. I can rub people the wrong way, but that's interesting that you look through all, everything that you tried to look into is like, oh, he's safe. I was almost embarrassed. I was embarrassed.
Like, oh yeah, we checked your file, but your man's Gareth,
Your man, mashallah. It's like, but your man, not too. We gonna have to pat him down at the door.
Word.
Like, you good, but that guy, oh yeah. We have to bring him to the back.
Like that movie Animal House. They don't put me on top secret. Top secret probation.
Right. That's all. All right, man. Let's jump into it, man.
Yeah, let's get into it.
This is something that we've always talked about in the street. We've always talked about this sort of thing, like the myth of the so-called Ramadan Muslim. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of the other things, I'm sure we'll get into too. So just explain to me I know what it is, but explain to the people exactly what that is. The myth of the Ramadan Muslim.
okay, the mythos and the pseudo narrative of the Ramadan Muslim is literally like calling somebody a hizbi. Is the same connotation. Is the same clandestine, covert insult in calling someone a deviant or a heretic or a mubtada, an innovator, or a fasid, a sinner, that type of thing. Basically, what it's supposed to mean is, oh, that person is being accused of only being Muslim during Ramadan, or only being religious observant during Ramadan. And like, who the hell is you to label somebody that? Who the hell am I? Who the hell are you? Who the hell are we to label someone Ramadan Muslim? Like that whole concept is bid'ah. That whole concept is religio innovation. That whole concept is batil, falsehood.
That's very true.
Like if you really want to get technical, every Muslim is a Ramadan Muslim. You know why? Because during Ramadan, Allah via his justice has placed all of us as religio-spiritual equals. The proof for that is that every single Muslim alive during Ramadan, even the ones who are not fasting or who can't fast or who refuse to fast, every Muslim alive on the planet Earth during those 29 or 30 days of Ramadan, each and every one of us are seeking from Allah directly or indirectly three things: al-Rahmah, mercy; al-Maghfirah, forgiveness; al-Afiyah, pardon. Every single, this I can humanly guarantee you this. If you ask any Muslim, do they want these three things during Ramadan? No Muslim is going to tell you no.
Right.
If you ask them.
Yeah.
No Muslim is going to say no. I don't want either of those three things during Ramadan. Every single Muslim is going to tell, hell yeah, I want that. Like kalla, of course. Every single bala, of course. Every single Muslim is going to say, yes, I want all three of those things.
That's true.
Please and thank you.
Exactly. And the thing that would get me is, it's almost like saying, how dare you want to worship Allah now?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just a weird thing. Like,
and only Allah gets to ask those questions.
Right. Like, how,
you don't
how
have a
dare you?
To say that to nobody. Only Allah has that justification. Like, for example, when he addressed Fir'aun, the Pharaoh that ruled during the time of Moses, peace be upon him, and when they saw the punishment, then they tried to say, oh, I believe in the Lord of Moses. Then Allah said, now? A word? Really? Now? Only Allah gets to do that. We don't get to do that.
Right.
None of us get to do that. Only Allah gets to do that.
Yeah, that's very evident. You know, like even when the Prophet ﷺ, when it was one of the companions who, you know, killed the man who tried to take Shahada before he killed him.
His adopted grandson, Usama ibn Zayd. Yeah.
He was like,
he kept pressing him.
Yeah.
He kept grilling him. Did you kill someone who said La ilaha illallah? Like you? And he's specifically targeting towards him because of the respect and love that he had for him, being his adopted grandson, being the son of his adopted son, Zayd ibn al-Haritha.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, you from my household. You did this?
You should know better.
You killed someone who said La ilaha illallah? You? And Usama ibn Zayd, when he narrated this narration, he said that I wish that I would never Muslim prior to that day.
For sure.
Which tells you a lot.
Yeah, it tells you a heck of a lot, you know. And this sort of judgmental attitude, you know, that we have, you know, towards our brothers and our sisters. And I would be the first
pointing the fingers this way, and pointing none this way.
Yeah, I'll be the first to say it. I got caught up in that nonsense for a nice little stretch.
We all did.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You have to remember, being judgmental is human nature.
Right.
It's you know why? Because it's easy to do this. Because when we do this, we don't feel anything. We don't even feel the breeze when we do this. We don't feel nothing. But when we do this, we literally feel it. Literally pointing your fingers to your chest, you literally feel that. So when we criticize ourselves, when we judge ourselves, we feel that. We don't want to feel that.
Yeah. It's uncomfortable.
Right.
You know, it's very uncomfortable.
Exactly.
And I always say that too. I'm like, you know how it's easy to fix somebody else's life. You know, like you can sit back and really think about it. Like, yo, I could give the greatest advice to somebody. I can sit back and tell people all this, but then when it comes to your own, oh man, because then you got to face the music. You got to look yourself in the mirror.
It's easy to give advice when you ain't ever been through nothing.
That's the case too. You know, and that's the case too. When you sit from a place of privilege, it's real easy, you know, to look down and be like, yo, you know,
not just privilege, but pseudo entitlement.
Subhanallah. Yeah.
Because remember, judgmentalism is rooted in a space and place of pseudo entitlement. People, as human beings, we think and feel that we're entitled and justified to judge others without ourselves being judged. But here's the irony. Only Allah is entitled and justified to be judgmental. That's why one of the names of Allah is Al-Hakam, justifiably judgmental. Only Allah gets to judge others without themselves being judged, because Allah is Al-Muhsin, the perfect. None of us are perfect.
True indeed. So looking at all of that and knowing the communities that we come from, where this myth, like especially in our communities, man, that used to be the saying, like, oh, these, you know, you see how the masjids is full during Ramadan, and then, you know, after Ramadan it's empty, you know, and you know, certain things like that. So they would say these things like Ramadan Muslim, the psychology behind it. Right. And what does that do?
It's very humiliating.
Condescending, yeah. Condescending.
It's very condescending. It's completely insincere. It's disingenuous. It's apathetic. And again, it comes from a space of pseudo religio superiority.
Right.
Like I always tell people, it's easy to judge people when our sins are in public knowledge.
Absolutely.
You have Muslims literally who are pimps, drug dealers, contract killers, who have the audacity to label somebody as a Ramadan Muslim.
Right.
You got Muslims who do OnlyFans, who have the audacity to label someone as Ramadan Muslim. And they doing OnlyFans during Ramadan. They selling drugs during Ramadan. They pimping during Ramadan. And those same types of people have the audacity and the arrogance to label someone Ramadan Muslim.
Can't make this sort of stuff up, man.
Because it's real life. That's why.
Yeah.
There are Muslim porn stars that would label someone a Ramadan Muslim.
Muslim porn stars.
Yes.
Interesting. Wow.
You got to remember, Muslims are humans too.
Yeah, that's true.
In every human vice that exists, there's some Muslim partaking in it. That's not opinion. That's fact.
No, it's a fact.
Some more than others, less more than others, but that's just what it is.
And we were told by the message of Allah that this was going to happen. We're going to follow them, you know.
Yeah.
Hand span by hand span, right? We're going to follow them. So that's not even a question that is, but it just, when somebody says it, you know, it's like an oxymoron, man. Like these two things don't fit in the same space, but it happens. You know, I told a story on Monday about the Salams and Abdullahs, you know, 20 years ago from Atlantic City.
I remember Raymond Brock Murray. He mentioned that several times about that. Yeah.
And you talking about oxymoron. These dudes would go to the masjid together. You know, they would pray together, but then because somebody read a fatwa or a hadith that, you know, there's no fighting in the masjid, you know, so they waited till they got outside and they would shoot each other. Like, and what they would a lot.
Oh, speaking of that, by default, Muslim street culture, Muslim gang culture, Muslim criminality. That's a myth buster that we need to just do by itself. Not seriously. We need to put that on the map. We need to put that on the schedule. Seriously.
You're right. Listen, because I was telling the sister on Monday the same thing. I said I forgot what state it was in. I want to say it was somewhere in the Midwest. And they have an Afghani gang. And they took, you know, and they had this
they got Afghan gangs and Pakistani gangs and Bengali gangs right here in New York City. So that don't surprise me.
Really? I've never, like, to me, I'm not aware of this stuff, but it's something to be aware of. But the one thing that dudes
really be trapping and clapping.
Yeah, and this is the weird part about it is it was just that, not that part. Like, I expect that sort of thing. We've been seeing that in Philly going for years. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Philly and some parts of New York, same thing. right? But what I'm saying is what was startling to me is they had this little Caucasian dude came from somewhere. They let him into, let him on their block. They took him to eat. Then they took him to the masjid. Made salah with Torah, showed them how to make wudu, made salah with them. They talked about Allah and then he went right back out to the street, started talking about how he's smoking weed and he's smoking dudes in the street. All of them got ankle bracelets. I'm like, what in the world? This is what we become, but it's a little bit off track.
It's reality. That's really what it is. And again, here's the hypocritical irony. Some of those same persons in that life, they will audaciously call someone a quote unquote Ramadan Muslim.
Facts. Well, it's always the broke something who critiques somebody with money, right?
Yeah.
It's like that. The most corrupt of us we got, or the most, debased of us are the ones that got critiques of everything. I've seen a brother, that would talk to me about all the ills in the masjid. And then I would ask, well, did you go up there and try to fix it? No, I ain't going up there with them.
I'll give you one better than that. I'll give you one better than that. I was outside with some brothers, right? And this is why I always tell people, judgmentalism always exposes who we truly are. It was a group of brothers. We were out. All of us know each other. All of us are cool with each other. So one brother, he just started yapping about this person's sin, that person's sin. And literally, immediately, once he started doing that, Allah literally exposed one of his sins on the spot. This is something that I literally personally witnessed. Yes. Literally, as soon as he started opening his mouth, yapping about this person, that person, immediately, Allah exposed one of his sins.
And that's 100%. And I used to say that to people too. It's like, yo, I'm gonna stop talking, because we used to look like, yo, I don't know how the brothers could do that, this, that, and the third. And then I get tested with the same exact thing, and I fail. Because
the Prophet said that. There's a narration about that. The Prophet mentioned, he said, whomever mocks a person for a sin that they've made repentance for will not meet Allah unless until they commit that same sin. And that is scary.
Yeah, it is scary. And that's why, like, I learned how to shut up about certain things. Like, I don't talk about stuff like, yo, you learn to have empathy. Like, listen, man, we live a weird life. It's this place here where we live at is bizarro world.
It's gladiator school.
Yeah, it is bizarro world. Like, everything is upside down. Like,
right is left, left is right, hot is cold, cold is hot. It's literally the Dajjal effect. Because the Prophet mentioned that if the Dajjal brings water, it'll really be fire. If he brings fire, it'll really be water. Yeah. This is literally, all of this is preparation for a Dajjal.
Yeah. And that's what this is. It's just so crazy. Like, when you live, in the spaces where we live at, and then to develop that sort of attitude of, being able to call somebody or label somebody something, it brings me to a weird space, because I remember those days when, everybody had to have a label. You understand what I'm saying?
It's a manifestation of low self-esteem.
And it's arrogance. It's arrogance too, man.
But arrogance by default.
Yeah.
It's arrogance is a void of low self-esteem. When people have low self-esteem, immediately what they want to do is to try to set themselves up above others.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true. Because that's what we see, that in relationships. We see that in any type of
every dimension of the human experience that exists. Yeah,
absolutely.
Ramadan time particularly.
Yeah, and I got
which brings us back full circle to the Ramadan Muslim mythos. A person will label someone the Ramadan Muslim because they want to feel good about the fact that they're not doing what they're supposed to do within the Ramadan or outside of Ramadan. So what they do, they project their religio spiritual insecurities upon other people, against other people.
Yeah, we've been in those weird spaces too. It's like, well, at least I'm not that bad. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm here, but I'm not on it like that. You know what I mean? Like, I might be selling some weed, but I'm not selling crack.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, for example, you'll have a brother say this: oh, these brothers married 5, 6, 7, 8 times. I've been married to the same wife for 20 years. Yeah, nigga, you've been beating your wife for 20 years too.
Right.
So, like, You think you better than somebody because you've been beating on the same woman for 20 years as opposed to beating on 10 different women? Really? Like, we got to do better.
We definitely got to do better, man. And that's part of it, man. That's part of the sickness. Yeah, it's definitely a disease, a heart disease, man. SubhanAllah, definitely
Matter of fact, I'll give you another example.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of abuse, substance abuse, you'll have people, right? They'll criticize someone for using a certain type of intoxicating substance, but they'll use a specific type of intoxicating substance, and they want it to be okay for them. Like, for example, this is no secret. You have a lot of Muslims who are weed smokers, and they try to pseudo-justify weed smoking, but they'll criticize someone for drinking alcohol or smoking crack or using meth or using this or using that. Nigga, weed is haram too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, don't get it twisted. It may not be your haram. It may not be the haram that you like, that you want to do, but it's still haram.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And like for example, I'll give another example of how Muslims, they'll criticize another Muslim for being homosexual, for example, right? But they won't criticize themselves for being a thought or being a womanizer.
Yeah.
It's still haram. It doesn't matter whether it's the same sin or not. It's still haram.
Absolutely.
Because you know, for us as human beings, and this is why I say all the time, it's easy to judge people when our sins are in public knowledge. Most of the time, most of the sins that we condemn personally, we only condemn those sins because we personally don't like doing those sins. Because we personally don't have a desire to commit those sins.
Yeah.
Most of us, I'm not saying all of us, just as human beings, Muslim or non-Muslim, but specifically Muslim human beings, most of the sins that we condemn, we only condemn them because those aren't our fancies.
Yeah.
Because those sins are not on our bucket list.
Yeah, that is true.
That's just fact. That's just reality.
Yeah, that is true. When you really think about it, that's definitely true.
Like, you'll have a dude, he'll condemn someone for being a porn addict, but he hits the strip club. Like, bro, like, you're not better than that person. Like, you're not. Like, you're really not.
Yeah. It's like this, like we said, it's a bizarre world, man. It's definitely upside down, man. You know, people will criticize. And then one thing I noticed, that people will criticize anything. You know, if they don't find anything, like I remember,
if they can't find something, they'll make something.
They'll make it up.
If they can't make something, they'll find something.
And then find the smallest things. I remember like going to the masjid and brothers standing outside the masjid like, yo, you know, these brothers, they supposed to stand with their feet foot to foot. You know what I mean? These brothers, I'm like, really? These brothers in there praying, man. You know, right. I learned a lesson from my cousin. I went to go get some advice from this dude, man. And I was like, yo, man, you know, I was complaining about my, maybe my future son-in-law. Say, I don't know about this cat. This is that. But I'm saying all this other stuff. He said, okay. He listened to me. He's like, okay. And then he said, does he pray? So yeah, he said he fasts. Yeah. He said, yeah. He said, man, Bismillah, man, what you worried about? He said in New York City, and where he's at, he said, in this day and time, just be lucky that it's a man. And she ain't talking about trying to marry a woman.
Seriously.
You know what I mean?
Seriously.
Like real talk. But he was like, listen, man, the complaints that you have are ancillary, stuff that you could tell the young brother to work on. You know what I mean? Like this is, miscellaneous stuff. He said you could tell him, you could get him to work on that stuff. He's like, but if he's doing the 5, man, and he's a good dude, and he works hard, and he does, marry the brother. Let him marry your daughter.
Yeah. Man, I'm glad you mentioned that. It's just like the story of the famous companion, An-Nu'aym ibn Amr, who is basically like the Dave Chappelle of the companions. He always had a joke to tell the Prophet, and Prophet loved him. He's one of his closest companions, but he had a flaw. He was a substance abuser.
Yeah.
And the other companions, may Allah be pleased with them, they would constantly ridicule and mock him. And when this news reached Muhammad, peace be upon him, he told them, he said, don't do this. He said, because without a doubt, he loves Allah and his messenger.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
And that was gonna be my other point too. Like in reality, if we're supposed to be Muslims, and you see a brother, okay, he only comes around during Ramadan, wouldn't you make it more accommodating for him to want to stay?
This is what
It would
I'm
only
saying.
make if you're really rooting for his, for his best interest.
That's the proof that we don't love for each other what we love for ourselves.
Yeah, the first thing you want to
That
do, you
what
should
you
roll
just
out the
mentioned
red
is
carpet
proof
for
for
them
that.
dudes. Yeah, so
If you're complaining, like you said, if you're complaining that someone is only present during Ramadan,
mm-hmm.
why would you debase them?
Facts.
Why would you clown on them?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you label them Ramadan Muslim? That would inspire anyone negatively be like, yo, to hell with this. I'm not coming back here. Why should I?
Certain. And you mentioned the addict, the same thing. We spoke about this before. It's the same concept. It's like if we show up to the masjid and everybody's side-eyed and you're like, yo, that's the crackhead from up the block. All right, why would I want to come back there?
Yeah.
Like if this is the place where, okay, if this is the mechanic shop and my car is broke, I'm supposed to be in the mechanic shop, not outside looking at the mechanic shop.
Oh, right, well, right. he ain't got on his high beams, so we're not gonna service him.
We ain't gonna service him. Like
wow. His engine is broken.
That's what I'm saying.
Fix the engine first, then worry about the damn LEDs.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Like literally, we suck at prioritization.
We do. I spoke about that too on Monday. I was like, imagine you got a sister with 3 kids. A sister with 3 kids. She don't know where her next meal is coming from for her kids. She don't know where she's gonna stay at and spend the night. And then you find out she's a substance abuser, and she goes into the masjid. First thing some of the sisters or the brothers will say is, sis, you got to fear Allah, sis. Okay, true indeed. Fear Allah, no doubt about it. But the reality is, if you help this sister fix her condition, if she's no longer concerned about where she's going to sleep.
Not fix and give her the tools of empowerment to fix themselves.
Exactly. But if you help, like you said, to assist
if you help facilitate.
Absolutely.
If you empower the person.
For sure.
So they can fix themselves, then maybe they won't have that condition.
And and that's what it is. It's like, but even they won't even pay attention to you until those needs are met. They're not they're not even really interested unless I know my kids is gonna eat. I know they have a place to stay. I'm glad
you mentioned that.
Absolutely.
They didn't address the fact that she's basically probably homeless, struggling.
Right.
They didn't mention the fact that she was probably abandoned by the father of their children.
Mm-hmm.
Whether she had children before or after she became Muslim, or whether she was Muslim in a situation when she had children out of wedlock, whatever.
You don't know.
Or if she was divorced, or if the husband died, or if the husband just abandoned them. None of those things are sought after or investigated. It's like you're just picking at a person. You're literally proverbially, pun intended, you're kicking a person when they're down.
Certainly.
And Islamically, it's literally mahrum, Islamically prohibited from kicking a person when they're down. It's literally haram to do that.
For sure.
Because we have narrations from the Prophet and narrations from the companions, may Allah be pleased with them, which clearly condemn people from aiding a shaitan and making the condition of people worse. And in fact, the Prophet said, one of the 4 people who Allah will command the fire to not consume are those who make the lives of other people better.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. Mm-hmm. And it's like if you're not, accommodating and you're not empathetic towards
like that
people,
old saying, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Yeah. If you're not that, then I would say, get out the way. Maybe you're not the person. You know what I mean? You're not the person
just like the hadith of Ludacris. Move,
get out the way. Yeah, certainly.
And that hadith is mutawatir. That hadith is common knowledge. That hadith is mutafiq alayh, agreed upon, according to the shurut, the conditions of al-Bukhari and Muslim.
Listen, I was, and then like the old saying, that's similar to the hadith. If you don't have nothing good to say, shut up, man.
Yeah, just like the Prophet said that those who believe in whomever believes in Allah on the last day, they must speak good or be silent.
And that's what it is. It's like if you're not willing to accommodate and be welcoming to these brothers, man, then just stay out the way. You know what I mean? Let those who want to do that. when you see those who you want to criticize, make dua for them. If they're doing
Don't be
something
a
wrong,
threat
make
to
dua.
progress.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And
Make
a
dua
lot
for
of
them.
us are, and what's worse yet is that a lot of us, we want to be a threat to progress.
Wow.
You know
Explain,
why?
explain
Because
that.
we're
Yeah, go ahead.
definitely afraid of people elevating above us.
Mm,
We don't want people to rise above us. We want
We've
people
seen
to
that.
stay low.
We've seen that. We've seen
Yeah.
whole communities get torn apart because of that issue.
That is still suffering because of that.
Yeah. Yep.
Literally
because of that.
still.
Yeah,
because
that's
of
very
this
true.
because of this nafsiya, because of this egotism.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a weird situation because it's like, okay, the things that we're trying to do now, I guess the wisdom that we have for having, years later, get some grays in our beard and stuff like that.
Get some
kinda
arthritis.
yeah. It kind of makes it easier to see it now. When I was in it, I ain't see none of that. I thought it was okay to criticize people. Well, we have like what was it called? The permissible backbiting. You know what I mean?
Which is still a thing, by the
It's
way.
still a thing. Yeah. And it's like you could just say anything about anybody and then walk away like it's okay. Like it's not
Matter of
backbiting.
fact, I'm glad you mentioned that, right? And I learned this from Shadeed Muhammad. Shout out to Shadeed Muhammad. Him and I were on a speaking of Ramadan, this was years back. Him and I were doing a Ramadan event lecture in Jersey. It was Masjid al-Tawheed, if I'm not mistaken.
You and him?
And yeah, Shadeed and I.
Okay.
And Shadeed is my guy.
Uh-huh.
So, like I said, shout out to Shadeed Muhammad. He mentioned an athar. He mentioned a statement, a story about Ahmad ibn Hanbal, in which they were asked whether or not al-ghiba, gossip, breaks a siyam, fasting. Check out the statement of Ahmad ibn Hanbal. He said, if gossip did in fact break fasting, then none of us would have accepted fasting.
SubhanAllah. Look at that. Wow.
That tells you a lot.
Yeah, it does. It does. But some of us can't go a day or an hour without talking about somebody, man.
No, we choose to not go a day without.
Yeah,
we choose. You know why? Because this is the proof that we're not as righteous as we think we are. We're not as righteous, pious as we think we are. Because remember, we know this. A taqwa, righteousness, piety, is just like a tawada, humility. Those are not slogans. Those are manifestations of character and behavior. Even for someone to claim, oh, I'm righteous, I'm pious, you sound like a sinner saying that.
Yeah.
Just like when someone says, oh, I'm humble, you sound arrogant saying that.
Yeah.
Because if we were really as pious and righteous as we claim, the people we criticize and the people that we're judgmental against, we would actually want to help them.
For sure.
Because the sign of a better person, the sign of a superior person, is that they don't want anyone to be inferior to them. They really don't want that. They want to help people elevate to be on their level and or above. If you're not working towards empowering, if we using inclusive language, if we are not empowering other people to be at our level and or above us, that's literally the proof that we're not better than them. Because if we were better than them, we would help them. And if we weren't capable of helping them, if we weren't able to help them, if we were truly better than them, we would always want to help them.
And listen, and just like we always used to say, even in the streets, it's like, if my team is winning, I'm winning. And you always want the people around you to do better. You want to surround yourself with those that are go-getters, that are out there actually uplifting and doing certain things.
Because we feed off of each other's energy.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing.
What is it?
Everybody wants to be a boss. Yeah, we all want to be a boss, and none of us want to be a leader.
Right. Yeah, that's very true.
Because when you're a boss, you always got people under you.
Yeah.
When you're a leader, you're the first among equals. People don't want to be the first among equals. Because it's an ego thing. they feel like their ego is attacked. Like, oh, this person, and the reason why is because we don't want to be corrected by each other.
That's true too.
Because it's very easy for our ego to get attacked or for us to get intimidated by people who are at our level. Because when you look at another man eye level, you see who they really are.
Yeah.
When you look a man in his eye, when you see a man eye level, when you view a man as your religio spiritual equal, as your manhood equal, you be like, okay, I'm about this type of time, but he's about that type of time too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And I gave a khutbah about this, about everyone thinks they're a tough guy until or unless Allah tests them with someone who's tougher than they are.
For sure.
All of us think we could fight unless until Allah tests us with someone who's a better fighter than we are.
Right.
All of us think that we got money unless until Allah tests us with someone who's more affluent than we are, who's wealthier than we are. All of us think that we, how should I say, all of us think that we smart. All of us think that we're knowledgeable unless until Allah tests us with those who are smarter than we are, who are more intelligent than we are, who are more knowledgeable than we are. And that's just human nature.
Yeah. And for me, that would be the thing that attracts me to individuals. It's like, okay, well, damn, if he's on that level, let me get around that cat and let me learn from him. This is the whole point of, scholarship and these things.
Exactly.
It doesn't really make any sense to do the opposite, and it does not uplift your community. All it does is, it's like that crabs in a barrel mentality.
That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Speaking of crab, what's the next time we gonna go to that seafood spot in Philly, man?
Listen, bro, I'm with it. Like, just all you gotta do is tell me when to saddle up. Let's go. You know what I mean? I'm with that. I wanted to try. I forgot that brother's spot, man. I gotta find it. But that Chinese restaurant was oh man.
What you doing this Sunday?
This Sunday? What am I doing this Sunday? I don't think anything.
You gotta check in with the boss, obviously.
Yeah. See, I had to look. Listen, man, because there be stuff that's going on. I'm like, we can go. And then
obviously we got the event this Saturday in Staten Island.
Yeah. And then Sunday, I don't think we're doing anything Sunday.
Matter of fact, since we all asked Sister Boss, can you come out and play?
Listen, I ain't gonna do that on live. I'll do that when we turn it off.
When you go back to the green room.
We go back to the green room, like, yo, is it okay? Everything is, you know what I mean? So, look, she laughing.
No. Then you gotta butter it up. Like, it's Gareth.
You know it's Gareth, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got that kind of pull too. Like, you can go out with Gareth. He's safe. She don't know. She don't know what Abu Yams really mean.
You were not supposed to say that on this episode. That's an episode. That's a discussion for another episode.
We're gonna edit that out. Don't worry about it. We got you. It's already out there live, right? We'll edit it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll pull it down. No, man, inshallah. Nah, we could definitely do.
This dude that called me Papi Yuka.
Papi Yuka. Listen. Oh, but you know what though? We should grab Ibrahim, because he's been talking about he wanted to go. All right, cool. Yeah. Let's set that up. Yeah, I'll hit him up, see what he's doing on Sunday, inshallah.
All right,
I think he got rid of one of the jobs. But anyway.
All right, mashallah. All right. So with this Ramadan Muslim mythos, like, honestly, we got to do better, because the Ramadan Muslim mythos is just one microcosm of many microcosms that add to the macrocosmic pathologies that exist within our communities.
Yeah, certainly. But there's so much, stuff that we sweep under
I'll give you another microcosmic pathology. You got Muslims who are only tough niggas against Muslims.
Oh man.
They ain't got no smoke for non-Muslims.
Yeah.
They don't pop on no non-Muslims. They don't shoot no non-Muslims. They don't get in the way of any non-Muslims. But any Muslim,
Yeah.
They always got smoke for a Muslim.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
This is something that is with Allah's help, we're going to discuss in the Muslim criminality episode, because there's a lot to unpack with that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot. It's a lot of cross. What's the name with this subject? And
it's intersectionality, right?
Definitely. Because the places where we come from, man, it's tough camp. But we've seen like some of these places were built on this sort of mentality. Like their foundation was on it like that. Like from its inception, they had these, misconceptions and stuff. And most of it was due to lack of knowledge. I would say if you ask them, they would probably say that.
No, honestly, I wouldn't say that, because this is why I tell people all the time, apathy is worse than ignorance. And it stems from another microcosmic pathology, is that for us as Muslims outside of Muslim countries, more specifically in the United States, is that for us, Muslim Americans, Muslim Afro-Americans, Muslim Latino Americans, especially, we have a history of only using al-Islam as an excuse to switch slave masters, as opposed to utilizing al-Islam as the ultimate tool to correct the human condition. Because, for example, al-Hizbiyya, right? Religio-sectarianism. We use ahzab, we use religio-sectarian groups to pseudo-justify gang culture.
Very true.
Instead of being a Crip, I'm a Ashari. Instead of being a Blood, instead of being a Blood, I'm Salafi. Instead of being Crip, I'm Ashari. Instead of being a Wu, I'm Sufi. Instead of being a Cho, I'm Shi'i. Instead of being a Latin king, I'm Diobandi. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being a gangster disciple, I'm a Quranist, a quote unquote Quran only. We literally use the concept of al-Hizbiyya, religio-sectarianism, as a pseudo justification to pseudo-Islamize gang culture.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about that?
It's abundantly self-evident.
That's true. I said that to this sister one time, and she was from India. And I was like, yeah, I said, soon enough, everybody have their own colors. She was like, they do already. In our country, they rock certain colors. There's some that rock green.
The irony is that the biggest drug dealers, the biggest trap stars in India are Muslims. They got a Muslim dude who's very, very powerful drug dealer in India right now. He's basically the Muslim Desi version of El Chapo.
Wow.
Dead serious.
What are we doing, man?
That's what it is.
And then you wonder why they can, certain things go down in places like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's how many million of y'all? I'll be allowing these anyway. We ain't gonna go there.
That's a discussion for a whole nother episode.
But that's, like you said, that comes, it comes full circle, because these would be the same ones that have the critique of all the brothers, and then the weakest ones, they have the critique of all the scholars and the imams, and it's always, this one is on it, this one is off it. This person, I won't step foot in this masjid is this and is that. They got so many labels, man. To the point where, eventually, and I said this about a couple individuals that I noticed. I said, well, you keep doing that, you're gonna end up by yourself. And that's exactly what happened. Was one brother came to me, he was like, oh, you have to come to my masjid. I thought he meant to the masjid where he goes. He was talking about his masjid that he built on his own, because no one had his ideology. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. He was telling me stuff about if someone, this dude literally told me, he said, if he got into a car accident and I went to court and got a settlement from the judge, that means that I'm judging by other than Allah. And I was like, what? I said, so I asked him even more of a strenuous question. I got to take it to the extreme. I said, well, listen, bro. I said, well, listen. I said, well, let's say this. Let's say if I see your daughter getting raped by gunpoint, and I don't have a gun, but there's a cop on the corner, right? And that cop arrests the guy. You can't go to court and testify against this dude. The dude said no. He said no, he can't. Oh, and they take it this far, brother. Like, there's no common sense. There's no common sense at all. SubhanAllah. Like this is how much, man. We always in need of Allah's mercy, man. Always in need of Allah's mercy, and in need of always being corrected. And that's why, I always appreciated Sheikh Al-Bani rahimahullah, when he used to make the statements about you always have to be rectifying and correcting yourself constantly. What he used, tasfiyah and tarbiyah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like always use these statements to make sure that you're checking on what you're doing, and if you're not, and you can't really hold on to just, okay, I'm just this, because the truth is there, it's there. If a Sufi came to me and he said something that's correct, I'm gonna take it. You know what I mean? If a guy came to me from there and he said something that's true, I'm gonna take it as the truth.
Because the Islamic principle is that truth is truth regardless of whom or where it comes from.
Exactly.
And that's based on the statement of Allah, when Allah says in chapter 5, verse 8, and never let your hatred against any people prevent you from behaving justly. Rejecting truth is unjust.
Yeah.
And then Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, apathy, arrogance is deflecting truth and mocking people. Right. And then the statement of Mu'adh ibn Jabal, may Allah be pleased with him, he said, always accept truth, even if it comes from a facet. He said, always accept truth, even if it comes from a kafir, a disbeliever, a non-Muslim, or a facet, a sinful Muslim.
Yeah, definitely. Because we know the hadith about when the shaitan was caught stealing.
Yeah.
When he told that truth, you know what I mean? Gave the brother the proper description.
And Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said, in spite of him being a liar, he still told the truth.
He still told the truth. Yeah. So as long as it can be verified and checked up, and it's the truth, you go with it, man. Like that's the way I was taught. That's the way I was born into the Islam, is that the truth is the truth. You don't waffle, like, dance like, okay, well, this is the way I'm feeling today. It's like, okay, well, I'll go with this scholar's opinion today.
If I feel like it, right.
Yeah, because it's easier for you. Don't do that. But as far as like, if it's the truth, man, and it works, I mean, not works, but if it's the truth, then that's what you follow, and that's what I think as a community, man, if we did that, we'd be more solid individuals, and we don't have to worry about some of this nonsense that we go through, because the culture would kick it out on its own. If you walked into a masjid where the culture was like that, it would just get rid of it on its own. You wouldn't have to worry about that.
It really boils down to all of these things that we've been talking about, bringing it back full circle to the mythos of the Ramadan Muslim. It really boils down to having a lack of respect for a fellow Muslim.
Yeah.
Because you would only label a fellow Muslim as a quote-unquote Ramadan Muslim because you're basically saying that, oh, that person is just a quarterly or seasonal Muslim.
Yeah.
What you're really saying is that, oh, this person's not really Muslim, or they're not Muslim like that. Who the hell are we to make that type of judgment call against any Muslim? Who are we? Like, literally, who are we?
Man, we need help, man.
We need a lot of help.
But
it starts with that, because you're only gonna come at the neck of another Muslim like that if you don't respect them.
That's true.
You can disagree with another Muslim all you want, but if you respect them, there's certain things there's certain views you're not gonna have about them or against them. There's certain things you're not gonna say about them. There's certain things you're not going to do to them.
Yeah.
That's just reality.
Yeah. And the simplest way is if you truly want for your brother what you want for yourself. Like, like we always mention, if you want your brother to make it into Jannah, you want your brother to, to make the salah, you want your brother to fast, you want him to receive Allah's mercy. These are the things that we want for ourselves. So why not want it for your brother? It's just
that's the point. That's the point. We really don't love it for other people. We only love it for ourselves. But again, that comes back to respect.
Yeah.
Because it's impossible to love someone you don't respect. It's impossible.
Yeah. That is true. That's very true.
Just like when Muhammad, peace on him, he mentioned, he said, none of you will enter paradise unless you believe. And none of you believe unless you love one another. But again, it's impossible to love someone you don't respect. It's impossible.
So now that we got a couple minutes, man, let's go with the solutions. What do we need to do? Practical steps.
Practical step is two things. Number one, what Allah says in chapter 5, verse 105. Allah says, those whom believe pay attention, upon you are yourselves.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Correct yourself. Worship Allah for yourself, for your own benefit. Mind your business. It's okay to not be nosy. And in fact, it's Islamically mandated to not be nosy. And the proof for this is that verse, number one. And then the statement of Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he mentioned the person who refrains from what doesn't concern them is from the positivity of al-Islam.
Right. Yeah. In the verse about avoiding suspicion too. Like we always have to, avoid suspicion.
When Allah says, avoid suspicion, suspicion is often sinful. Exactly.
For sure. For sure. SubhanAllah. And what's the second step?
There is no second step. That's the step. That's the step.
That's right. That's
because you know
true.
why? Because when we do all of those things that we mentioned, we're going to have a positive husnul dhan, positive opinion of one another. We're going to give each other sab'una a'adhar. We're going to give each other 70 excuses. We're going to actually empower people and facilitate ways so they can improve. Positive opinion of a person, 70 excuses, empowering other people. None of those three things can possibly exist without anything of the aforementioned that we already said.
Very true. And then, and that's exactly how the foundation of good communities come about. If you stick to what Allah says first, you save yourself and then your family from the hellfire. And it's about, like you said, you get with yourself first. If you're correcting what's going on in you, and then you're correcting in what's going on with your family, and everybody around you did exactly the same thing, the community would be cohesive. Because I'm not worried about what's going on in your house.
Just like when Muhammad peace mentioned, he said, the ummah, the nation, is like a body. When one part is injured, the entire body acquires a fever.
Absolutely.
What Allah has imposed upon the nation of Muhammad, peace be upon them, is that even our own individual positive actions, they have positive consequences for everyone else in the ummah. Likewise, our negative actions have negative consequences for everyone in the ummah.
Yeah.
You have people who lived 800 years ago. Their actions as Muslims, positive and negative, still affect us. Every single Muslim on this planet is affected by the actions of certain Muslims who lived centuries ago.
That is a fact.
Literally.
Because you look at whole, like you said, whole sects of, and
I'm not just talking about the negative stuff. I'm talking about the positive stuff too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you
both
can
the positive and the negative.
Yeah,
we are literally still benefiting and or suffering because of the actions of some of the companions. May Allah be with them all together. Literally. To this day, our condition as Muslims are partly because of the positive and the negative actions of the companions. May Allah be pleased with them all together. It's not opinion, it's fact. And this is why Abdullah ibn Uthman bin Amr, the real name of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, may Allah be pleased with him, this is why he said, those whose evil outlives them are cursed.
Right. SubhanAllah. And that should be enough to shut us up. You know what I mean?
It should.
That should be enough to shut us up.
but it won't, because we niggas. It's just human nature.
Yes, yeah, of
Like, honestly, like,
of all nationalities too. Like,
yeah, exactly. And two particular things, right? When we're dealing with these type of scenarios, these types of people, eventually it gets to the point where there's only two Islamically acceptable options to deal with those types of judgmental people. Either be patient with them or be distant from them.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
That's just what it is.
No doubt. And you have
because
to know
the third option is going up somebody's forehead. And that's haram unless you have three conditions. One of three conditions, because Muhammad, peace be said, there's only three Islamic justifications to harm any fellow Muslim. Mm-hmm. A sexual offense that requires the death penalty, murder, betrayal against the Muslims, which is an act of apostasy.
Mm-hmm. Certainly.
So for us to avoid being tempted to harm another Muslim unjustly, we either be patient with them or be distant from them. And those two, either of those two options are better than going upside another Muslim's forehead.
Yeah, certainly. And I always give that advice too, like especially with those who, because you have to know your level and the type of person you are. If you're not that individual who's very patient, you need to walk away from those situations. Leave it
immediately. Immediately. Like before the scenario starts, because
absolutely
through Allah's justice and mercy, He gives us some type of remnant of al-basira, vision, via either foresight, insight, or hindsight. Foresight meaning Allah allows us to see certain things before they even happen. Allah allows us to see things on the horizon before it happens. And then with insight, Allah allows us to have clarity about something while it's happening. And then with the hindsight, Allah allows us to have clarity about something after it happens. But most of us, we completely deflect and ignore the foresight. And that's how and why we get into the jams that we get into.
SubhanAllah. Facts. Yo, it's 8:30. You know, not only is it time to make salah, we've been chatting it up for an hour, which is good. MashaAllah. I miss you, man. I haven't seen you in a minute.
Yeah, mashallah, likewise. Just like we was talking about time. Look how fast that time went.
Yeah, man. That was crazy.
Like, honestly, it felt like we barely been talking for 10 minutes. We literally been talking about an hour.
SubhanAllah. Wow. I mean, alhamdulillah, man. You know, it's very, very beneficial as usual.
I mean, listen, you know what they say? Time flies when you're having fun getting canceled.
Absolutely. Fun getting canceled. I like that. So what's the subject for our next Wellness Wednesday? What do you think?
Muslim criminality.
Muslim criminality. So that's what. Yeah. So everyone who's interested in that, and even if you're not, you should tune in anyway, because there's going to be some stuff that's being said. We're gonna try to drag somebody else in with us too. Why not get some more people canceled while we at it, man? So
might as well. You're right, word.
And I think this is what I was thinking about, man. I think we should grab up some videos and we should do some reaction stuff to some of the retarded stuff that's being said on the internet. A lot of this stuff, and I'm thinking, I said, me and Gareth would have a ball. Critiquing, not even critiquing, but just talking about certain things that are like, come on, and pointing, and not, and the whole purpose of it is to point out bad behavior and things, as you say, like some people may think is normal. Like, yo, this is not normal.
Right. Like, you know what? I'm gonna give an example. I actually posted this, right? There's a Muslim brother we both know, one of our colleagues.
Right.
And I had posted an article. I don't remember whether I sent you the article that I wrote, but I'll get a chance to send it to you. So I sent him the article, right? This nigga asked me how many curse words are in it.
Oh,
I'm like, I can't get 70 excuses, bro.
Nah, not Gareth.
Like, literally off rip. He didn't ask me about the subject matter.
Right.
Only thing he asked me, how many curse words are in it? I'm like, damn.
You know what it is? He probably took the 70 excuses and stretched them out. Like, you done passed the 70th one already. That's it. Like, I'm on 71. That's it. Maybe that's what it is, man.
No, when I know he said it in jest. I know he was joking.
Of course.
But it's when he said it, I felt like a Ramadan Muslim. I'm like, wow, like, bro.
Like, is it that bad? Really?
Word.
Well, it's all good, man. It's all
Mashallah.
good. Like, and for people who don't know you, it may be like shocking, but they don't understand. That's the whole point. You know what I mean? Like, you do this stuff on purpose. It's not by accident.
This is really who I am. Like, I'm really like this. Yeah.
So it's definitely not by accident. It's very, very thoughtful, and it's thought out.
It's everything that I post personally is 100% deliberate.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's 100% methodical. Like dead serious. I literally think about and I kind of assess, and I try to estimate the amount of people who are gonna block me and unfriend me based on what I post. Like, seriously, I estimate that. I
it's like a sport. It's a sport now. Let's see if we can get 200.
No, dead serious. Like, I anticipate and I project how many people want to fight me based on what I post or what I write about in articles. Like, I literally I literally factor that in. Like, for real, I really do.
Yo, you gotta cut that out, man. We gonna wind up going to Philly. We gonna go to Philly and get jumped. Oh, they out there this weekend? Like Sunday, it's like, oh, they at the crab spot? Oh, really? You know what I mean? Like, one thing we can say about our Philly brothers, they're about that life. You know?
That's why I give pseudo locations.
Yeah, exactly,
so the ops can go to that location, we'll really be somewhere else.
Exactly, man. So, subhanallah. Nah, man, always a pleasure, man.
Likewise, man.
Mashallah. We definitely gonna do this again. But I wanna, you know what? Send me some of those videos. Like, well, we can't put some of them up because these women be cursing. Like, but that sort of mentality that these people have, that they really think that this is real life. Like, this is how a person's supposed to think. And when you show it to somebody who's really on that type of time, and it's like, okay, what was wrong with that? Like, yo, you complete weirdo. Like, I could, like, how could you not see the ramifications of what can happen to a woman like this, or that thinks that way? Again,
it goes back to what I always tell people: apathy is worse than ignorance. Not caring is worse than not knowing.
That's a fact. Yeah, I got a little program that can download these videos, so I could chop them up. We can put them in there. We can go one by one, man.
No, I mean, to be honest with you, realistically, we can literally do like road trip scenarios. Like, when we on the road, just chopping it up.
Okay, we're gonna talk about it. So,
word.
I'm with it. All right, brother. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll be back, I guess 2 weeks from now, inshallah.
Yep.
And then after that, it'll probably be the Eid.
Yes, mashallah.
All right, that's all. We'll chop it up. Assalamu alaikum wa
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for watching our video. Please subscribe, like, and share at Muslim Peer Services. Assalamu alaikum.